New.
Hey everyone, my name is Black Chaos, and we are back with more Unknown 9 chapters. So, last we left off, we completed the mysteries in Calcutta, which basically introduced us to the creation or founding of the Calcutta Science Institute and how they were inspired by their chance encounter with Haroona. Alright, so let's start. This is our first real mission that we've gotten, where we're going to introduce ourselves to the community manager, and we'll be taught how to use our communication device. Click to investigate. Chapter 1, Welcome Quaestor. Here's a little introduction to prepare you for the upcoming challenges. First things first, let's calibrate the communication device with your community manager. Simply follow the instructions given and enter your answer in the input field. Simple as that. Objective, follow the instructions. Start to find clues. Okay, case files. Click on the elements in the image to reveal the clues. When you find a lead, type your answer in the input field for validation. Okay. Communicate with us here. Alright. Dear Quaestor. Dear Quaestor, welcome to the Leap Year Society. You have been assigned a community manager to support you in your upcoming investigation. Information provided below. Name Victoria H. Position Senior Community Manager, LYS member since 1998. Please note that due to the recent influx of new recruits, a context-aware filtering system has been activated to make sure only relevant communications are relayed to the CM. Type hello. Alright. Hello.
Hi there, Quaestor. I'm Victoria, and I'll be your community manager for all cases going forward. Let's start off by calibrating the messaging system to make sure the noise filter works. Just type in calibrate to continue.
Okay. We'll type in calibrate.
All right, perfect. That went through just fine. Now go ahead and input start.
Start. Go ahead.
Did you input something? Oh, I see that your attempt didn't go through.
What?
Let me check. Oh, the command has changed. At least we know the noise filter works. When you see this dark screen, it means the context filters ignored your input. Try begin.
Oh, okay. Let's type in begin.
I led you astray. Only slightly, though. I just wanted to show you what would happen if you were close to a correct answer.
Oh,
Begin
okay.
training, and we'll be good to go.
Oh, so they're basically showing a tutorial of how the system works. So partial answers is going to give us that blue screen. Begin training.
That got through. Excellent. We're all calibrated here. Just go ahead and confirm, and we'll move on to your next task. I see great things for you, Quaestor.
Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's the tutorial done with. Now that you've established communication with your community manager, it's time for you to familiarize yourself with the Leap Year Society. Click on the next button to continue. Continue case. Chapter 2, History Lesson. You're now comfortable with our communication system. Great. We've provided you with a small portion of our new Quaestor handbook. You've jumped through our hoops. It's only fair that you get to know us a little better. Objective. Review the document page and then tell us what was the name of the test that we used to assign divisions to new Quaestors. Okay. Start to find clues. Objective. Review the document page and then tell us what was the name of the test that we used to assign divisions to new Quaestors. Quaestor handbook. Oh, okay, nice. Quaestor's Handbook 1988 revised edition. Not that difficulties, however, the ingenuity of the early LYS members prevailed and their organization survived. Welcoming new Quaestors. Once a promising Quaestor has been identified by an LYS member, it is our process to slowly reel the candidate in without divulging any sensitive information. Refer to Annex F for the complete procedures to test the viability of a potential member before divulging that you belong to the organization. Initiation. Chapters are permitted to conduct initiation ceremonies for health and safety regulations. Refer to Annex H and contact your local chapter leader. Once a Quaestor's background and basic skills have been assessed and appropriate measures have been taken to ensure discretion from the new member regarding the existence of LYS, The Heigman test should be administered in order to assign a suitable mentor to the candidate. So that would be Heigman? Heigman? I don't know.
Correct. Although it's called the Heigman-Taylor test now. We've made some changes
Okay,
since
cool.
1988.
Got it.
In fact, it's the one that you took with all the weird questions. Let me transfer some documents to your case file. From time to time, I will provide you with additional material to help you with your investigations, so keep your eyes open. I added some news clippings that, to my opinion, really illustrate what we're about. I'm really excited to have someone to talk to about these, now that we went public. When you're done reading, type "I'm ready" to continue your training.
Alright. Oh, wait, I think I should read those first and then type "I'm ready." Okay. Novosti Sverku, the launch of Sputnik. Soviet-made artificial moon project successful. Glorious Soviet Union launches first man-made satellite. Wait, so these are all the things that LYS has done as a society? October 4th, 1957 marks an important milestone for humanity as the USSR successfully launches the first man-made Earth satellite. This advancement secures our lead over the Americans into space, putting pressure on the nation to accelerate work on their own satellite program, Project Vanguard. Since Konstantin E. Tsiolkovsky's first substantiation of cosmic flight in the 19th century, we have continued to grow our knowledge of cosmic space and our solar system, adding to mankind's library of world science and culture. With the success of this launch, dreams of interplanetary travel can only come closer to reality for the glory of the motherland. Indeed. Raji Samachar, major discoveries in the Indian Ocean, from Kolkata. Divers recovered priceless treasure from the Cardoza shipwreck in what was deemed a dangerous but necessary expedition. Hazardous chemicals from a spill nearby threatened to cause permanent damage to the precious cargo and the ship itself, a Portuguese caravel that had been discovered last week between southern India and Somalia. Professor Roshan Jayad from the University of Calcutta noticed that the discovery of the 17th century ship was mere days before its inevitable loss was nothing short of a miracle and one of the quickest and most effective mobilizations he had ever seen. Jayad oversaw the operation in collaboration with non-profit groups dedicated to protecting India's cultural heritage. Okay. Cutting-edge imaging technology was used to map the site and highlight areas of interest for divers. They were amazed to discover thousands upon thousands of copper ingots stashed aboard the vessel. The copper helped preserve portions of the wreckage. It's toxic to organisms that would otherwise eat away at the debris. Stirred by the success story, the groups involved in the exhibition hope to continue aiding the advancement of India's science community on a worldwide level. Though fresh out of the ocean, researchers are optimistic that the recovered contents will reveal the history of the Cardoza and unfortunate demise of it, her crew, and mysterious cargo. Okay, so the Cardoza shipwreck might be the same shipwreck that is referenced, or the same ship that is referenced in the novel, the Genesis novel. I don't remember the name of the ship that was in like the prologue. Could be this one though. Vetenskap and Industry, Stockholm. Okay. The Physics Nobel Prize was awarded yesterday to particle physicist Carlo Rubbia and Simon van der Meer for their UA1 and UA2 experiments in Geneva, a breakthrough that led to the discovery of two previously unknown particles. The particles were named W and Z bosons to commemorate the work of Satyendra Nath Bose, an Indian physicist from the University of Calcutta who passed away in 1974. The bosons were discovered earlier this year using the CERN SPS, superproton synchrotron, commissioned in June 1976 and used as a proton-antiproton collider since 1981. Curious readers will recall articles describing the construction of the massive underground structure measuring 2 kilometers in diameter with a circumference of 6.9 kilometers. Questions had been raised at the time about the exorbitant cost of constructing the machine, but were quickly brushed aside by the CERN administration. Nobel Prize winners delivered a speech on Wednesday, while Nobel Week festivities are expected to continue until Friday in the Swedish capital. Okay. Alright, let's type I'm ready. Because I'm ready.
Don't worry, I won't babysit you all the time. We'll go through some simple puzzles together in the next step, but keep in mind that this is only a training exercise. things won't be as simple in the field.
Okay, good to know. Great, now that you know it's better, it's time for one last challenge before we assign your first case. Okay. Puzzles, enigmas, and riddles. Since our foundation, we have entertained ourselves with puzzles, enigmas, and riddles. Just so you know what's waiting for you ahead, we've prepared some simple puzzles for you to solve. Answer each of them correctly, then tell me what your answers have in common. Don't forget that you can use search engines to help you out. Okay. The Great Mendestella. Long live the son Horus, the strong youth, the lord of the diadems, glorious, the golden Horus, who has crowned his father, the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. I mean, I can clearly see the boldened letters. I think I'm just gonna go ahead with that. Not too sure if the meaning of this would be relevant. All right. Bring out the notepad. H I E R O G L Y P H. Oh, hieroglyphs. Okay.
Hieroglyphs. I'm very fond of glyphs myself. Something about communicating using pictures instead of words. But I digress. That was the correct answer. I've added your next step to your case file.
Okay. Cipher. Alright, so we're gonna try and solve the cipher. CDLNSHB. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, C is equal to D, and so on. Okay. So C is equal to D, E, M, O, T, I, C. Demotic?
Correct. Demotic
Oh,
is
okay.
basically the Egyptian language written in script instead of hieroglyphs. It was referred to as document writing by the Egyptians at the time. You'll find your next puzzle piece in the case file. Fill in the blanks and tell me what you get.
Alright. Fill in the blanks. I think the second word is Greek. Ancient? ANCIENT. Ancient Greek. Okay. That's actually even easier.
The language of the ancient world, used by historians, poets, philosophers, as well as conquerors. It contributed heavily to modern-day languages, as well as the Renaissance. Fascinating stuff. Hieroglyphs, Demotic, and Ancient Greek. Now that you have those three answers, I have a final question for you. Which object ties these three languages together?
Which object ties these three languages together? Demotic, Ancient Greek, and hieroglyphs. I mean, I could just Google this. Why not? Demotic. It was first used by the Greek historian Herodotus to distinguish it from hieratic and hieroglyphic scripts. Okay, but what object? Rosetta Stone. Of course.
Way to go! It's the Rosetta Stone, a
Makes
marvel
sense.
discovery that was crucial in our understanding of Egyptian.
Not too familiar with the
hieroglyphs, as well
Rosetta
as the
Stone
scripts.
myself, so I didn't
Well
stumble
done.
across this myself. Great work, excellent. Our communication is well calibrated. You know a bit more about our organization and you've cut your teeth on some puzzles. You're ready for our first case? Check the hub for your next assignment. Good luck, Quaestor. Oh, got +1 all of these. Pretty cool. Let's go back to the map. Alright, so we have a case now. A year ago, all tenants from an apartment building in Seattle, Washington disappeared overnight without a trace, including the building manager. We didn't investigate much at the time, but new evidence suggests this event might have more significance than we thought. Oh my god, this is related to the first episode of the podcast. The Out of Sight podcast. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with the podcast, I would highly recommend you check it out. What's that? So the Out of Sight podcast is a scripted podcast, and you can stream it directly on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Stitcher. And it very recently it had its season finale. It's just 9 episodes, and I highly recommend you check this out because it's pretty cool. I am planning on releasing a summary or recap of the whole podcast. So if you're not a fan of podcasts, you can just go through that and you can get like the basic gist of the story. So I will be releasing that very soon. Anyways, let's get back to this. Oh, I'm excited. I am excited. All right, Chapter 1, The Departure. Review the news articles published last year about the disappearance and the evidence we found pertaining to the building history. There might be some clues in both directions to help us understand what happened in 2019. Okay, so we know when that took place then. 2019. You have an agent on location if you discover anything. Start to find clues. Seattle Times. Mystery keeps Seattle emergency services on edge. Seattle police and emergency response services are spending the weekend scratching their heads. Over the last couple of weeks, calls from a plumber, a couple of electricians, and a dozen concerned family members brought Captain Langlais's team knocking on the door of an apartment building at somewhere. Upon arriving at the scene this morning, police questioned the neighborhood's mailman, complained that none of the mailboxes had been emptied for days. There's usually 1 or 2 that go unemptied because they're on vacation, says the mailman who wishes to remain anonymous. But all of them? That's something I've never seen. Seattle Times reporters reached out to Captain Langlais for a statement. We find it strange that all 24 tenants seem to be missing and intend to launch an investigation. We've tried to contact the building manager but have not been able to get in touch with him yet. Some neighbors believe it to be less serious, speculating that it could be a hoax. If it is a prank, all those involved are at risk of prosecution for unduly wasting police and city resources. Okay. Seattle Daily Records. It is hereby declared that the city of Seattle, by the powers bestowed upon the council and by the will of the people of King County, reclaims its rights of property on the abandoned edifice established at this location. Following the thrice-yearly vacation of the aforementioned property, all efforts have been deployed to identify the previous owner and settle the matter in an orderly and lawful fashion, but to no avail. The city therefore announces the rightful claim of the tract of land. This claim of rights is effective immediately and trespassers... Okay, fine. Alright, cool. So basically the city of Seattle has reclaimed the building. Wait, so it was abandoned in 1912 and it's been abandoned again in 2019. From SPD North Precinct Heather Mallory's testimony. Officer: Hello, Mrs. Mallory. I'm redacted. Thanks for coming in. I'll be recording this interview. Okay, tell me about your sister. What was she like before moving to redacted? So I'm guessing this means to the building. Sure. She and I don't always see eye to eye. We aren't into the same things, and we sure as hell don't have similar personalities. She's outspoken and can't let anyone else have the last word. She can't keep her thoughts to herself either. When her mind's set, it's almost impossible to change her opinion. She drives me crazy, but she's still my sister, you know? Sorry, I just need... Unintelligible. Officer: It's okay. Take your time. Should I come back? No, I'm sorry. I'm alright. When she moved to Seattle a year after me, our relationship was pretty good. We'd hang out at each other's apartments every other week or so, and I felt like we'd outgrown the dumb fights we had growing up. The past few months were different, though. Different. Officer: You said you noticed a change in her behavior. When did that start? Any idea what caused it? I don't know. She started keeping to herself, which was pretty weird for her. She isn't really the type of person to want to be alone like that or keep secrets. The last time I saw her, I was dropping off some stuff that her mom had mailed to us, and I walked in on her with an arm under her bed, digging around like she used to do when we were kids, checking for monsters. I joked about it, but she didn't like that and got defensive, so we ended up fighting. It sucks that my last conversation was ended in an argument. You find her though, right? You have the resources to track her down. I can't promise anything. Was there anyone in her life she mentioned to you that stands out? Maybe someone new. Find out if something else happened here. Is a specific word that they're looking for to trigger the solution. Monsters? No. Keeping to herself. Under her bed. Okay. Bed.
Maggie
Okay.
was hiding secrets under the bed? I've sent our agent to check it out. They found an old logbook with a lock mechanism. Looks like it needs a 3-digit code to open.
Okay, so there's a logbook with a lock mechanism. Looks like it needs a 3-digit code. Heather's sister needs a 3-digit code. 1912. No. Vacation. No. Okay. What happens if I enter it again? Apartment. No. 24? Wait. Did she say Maggie? Hold up. This is Maggie's sister. Okay, so in the podcast, Maggie is someone who basically leads the whole apartment. I'm guessing she's the first one who finds what's hidden in the basement. And I'm gonna delve into the podcast's first episode. So y'all are gonna have to bear with me there if you haven't heard the podcast. Now that I think about it, I don't think they've mentioned this takes place quite a bit before the author of the podcast arrives in the scene. So I don't think the podcast will have anything specifically useful. Okay, let me try and find more clues here. This takes place on November 15th, 2019. Takes place September 18th, 1912. Claim of rights.
It appears the property was mysteriously abandoned before 1912, but we don't know when exactly. A claim of rights soon followed since no one declared themselves owner. Can you narrow the timeline a bit to help our investigation?
Property was mysteriously abandoned before 1912, but we don't know when exactly. Okay, and some kind of indication of time. Following the thrice yearly vacation. Thrice yearly. Does this mean 3 times a year? Or like every 3 years? That's some weird. Right. Thrice yearly. Triennial every 3 years. Okay. So 3 years before this, it was fine because it wasn't abandoned. 1909.
This was a tough year for the LYS. I don't know the extent of our hardships, but I did find this article about some strange events happening in Seattle around that time.
Oh, okay. So we unlocked a new document. The ranch. A journal of the land and home to the New West. Okay. Let me open this up real quick. Alright, a shocking occurrence. It's been almost a year since Joseph Norwell left the family farm on Grey Pines Road to find his fortunes in the city. So why, pray tell, are we reporting about city folks now? Wait, so what is this? A journal of the land and home to the New West. Okay. The Norwell family has revealed that their son vanished with no explanation or goodbye only a few weeks following his arrival in Seattle. After months of unsuccessful searching, Alberdine Norville came to us for assistance and enlightenment, a small stack of her son's letters in hand. We are no strangers to the unknown here at the ranch, and we investigate any lead brought to us with the amount of professionalism it deserves. We traced the address in the letters to a respected butchery where the country lad was previously employed. According to Mr. Hofford, the owner, Joseph appeared determined and eager when he first began working, a quiet young man of action. I let him send his mail to my shop since he was always here, writing letters to his folks back home. Kept himself at first, but started telling us about his neighbors and their holy quest and whatnot. Holy quest? Soon it was the only thing that ever came out of his mouth and drove my boys mad, I tell ya. Mr. Hofford pointed us in the direction of a small, low-cost tenement that Joseph had recently moved into on... Okay. We were unable to find any tenants coming in and going, but noticed piles of newspapers spilling down the front steps of the buildings on that street, as if most, if not all, the residents had moved out of the small neighborhood. We were correct in our guess, but the truth we stumbled upon was stranger than we imagined. Yes, dear readers, on August 28th that year, all tenants lodged at this place disappeared without a trace, one of them being Joseph Norville. Some others who went missing include Miss Gladys Armstrong, a local florist, Dr. Henry Seabrooks, who is well known in the country for his unusual medicine. So who were these neighbors Joseph talked about? Where did they all go? The mystery remains. Okay, so there's a few keywords we have here that we can search for. Joseph Norville.
Poor Joseph. So this must be the same property that appears in the claim of rights. Wait, that doctor. Where have I heard that name before?
The doctor. Henry Seabrooks. Dr. Henry Seabrooks.
Dr. Henry Seabrooks. That name is familiar. I can't find anything though. But I did find mention of Dr. Sherbrooke in Seattle. It's from an oral history published 50 years later. Perhaps the name was misrepresented? Maybe it's worth a look.
Okay. You have another document to look at? Section Pacific Northwest. Extract from oral history of early LYS operations. Accounts from the year 1960. Mary N., member of the Portland chapter. From what I'd been told, after the year and the pandemic, there was no chapter in Seattle. No one was in touch anymore. It could have just gotten too dangerous to leave a signal, but whispers were that they had been disbanded. It was the only time I ever heard of that happening. I was too afraid to ask if it was an euphemism. I still don't know. Disbanded. Okay. Orville S. My mother told me they'd gotten a couple visits from an herbalist named Gladys. Came down from Seattle on the train along with the doctor, Dr. Sherbrooke, if I'm not mistaken. They came to share lectures on some plant medicines and meditation combinations they'd been working with. Whatever the project was, it did not sit well with her. Anyhow, that was the only time I ever heard a curse. Alright, so Dr. Sherbrooke seems to be an incorrect name. It's probably Seabrooks, the name she found in that journal excerpt. Around 1907, a fellow named Silas immigrated from Washington State and joined us on Salt Spring for a retreat. He was a brilliant practitioner, we soon learned, but in his waking life, he was rather what we call today shell-shocked. Hilda and I were able to ease his trauma some, and he opened up to us. I'm bound to keep confidence, but suffice to say, we really forbid all our local associates from visiting the Seattle schoolhouse. Seattle schoolhouse. Okay, something weird happened there. Let's use that.
So they built a schoolhouse. But oh, I see. Well, we don't know anything about the project, but I did find this forgotten operation report from a while back. I can't believe this was overlooked.
Okay, more documents. Project Schoolhouse. PS established. All assets secured, including redacted. Begin master records and efficiency reports. Log entry code, the many sunrises of a leap year. Okay. The many sunrises of a leap year? No. Okay, just leap year. What about the file code? Maybe that'll help. Nothing. Okay. Oh, wait. Entry code. The many sunrises of a leap year. So how many sunrises are there in a leap year? 366.
What does 366 mean? Is that a code for something?
Wait.
Maggie was hiding secrets under the bed?
3-digit
I
code.
sent our agent to check it out. They found an
Maggie logbook.
What does 366 mean? Is that a code for something?
Days of leap year. No. How do I tell them to try 366 on that code? Logbook.
It's still locked. Do you have the code to open it?
Yes. 366 logbook.
Nope, that didn't unlock the mechanism.
Oh, okay. It was worth a try. Gladys Armstrong. No, nothing. It's strange. I was pretty sure that log entry code would relate to the same logbook. Victoria. Logbook. Logbook?
It's still locked. Do you have the code to open it?
Yeah. Put 366, right? What?
That did it! We can access the book now. Oh, wow. This is an old LYS logbook.
Okay, maybe I made a small
It
mistake previously
details
by putting
all the
366
steakhouses
logbook.
the LYS used in the Pacific Northwest. But
Okay.
more importantly, it has specifics about the experiments done by Dr. Seabrooks in this building. The last entry from him was in 1909, as expected. Let's see what they were
Interesting.
doing at the schoolhouse. Oh, actually, I can't. Listen, this was a huge help for us
What?
investors, but I can't share anything further. Don't feel bad. I don't have access to everything either. But I can say, the more you prove yourself to the LYS,
But
the
I
less
wanna know
barriers there will
more.
be. Way to go on this one. I'll make sure to note it in your file.
Humbug. Oh well. We have completed it, and with that, we are done with this case. Dr. Seabrooks' logbook was a tremendous find for the LYS and gave us critical insights into the Seattle chapter's operations. For our first mission, this sure was a huge success. Keep this up, Quaestor. Alright, so we found out that it seems the Seattle chapter of LYS was disbanded at some point. And now we basically found out why. Interesting. Alright, so I will stop it here. It's probably been a long episode, but I will try my best to cut it down to a manageable size. Hopefully it's been interesting. In the next episode, we are going to take a look at the Weeping Woods. Should be fun. Until next time, make sure you like and comment if you feel like you've enjoyed watching the video. And if you have any recommendations or changes or feedback for the video, be sure to drop that as well. I really appreciate it all the time. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.